You don't avoid what doesn't matter. You avoid what does. The email you should send. The workout you promised yourself you'd start. The difficult conversation you keep rehearsing in your head. The business idea sitting in your notes app for 3 years. The strange part is this. The more important something feels, the heavier it becomes, and eventually you start telling yourself a story. Maybe you're lazy. Maybe you lack discipline. Maybe other people just have more drive. But avoidance is rarely about discipline. It's about protection. Most people think procrastination is a time management problem. It isn't. Your brain does not rank tasks by importance. It ranks them by perceived threat. When something carries emotional weight, your nervous system evaluates it the same way it evaluates physical danger. Not consciously, automatically. If the action could threaten your identity, your belonging, your stability, or your sense of competence, it gets flagged. And the bigger the dream, the bigger the flag. Think about starting something meaningful. Writing a book, changing careers, getting in shape after years of neglect, asking for a raise, telling someone you're unhappy. These aren't small moves. They challenge who you believe you are. If you try and fail, the story you've been telling about yourself might crack. If you attempt something and it doesn't work, you lose the safety of, "I could have done it." That potential version of you disappears. Avoidance preserves potential. As long as you don't act, the dream stays intact. The marriage might improve someday. The body might change someday. The business might launch someday. You remain the person who could have. Your brain prefers that uncertainty over definitive loss. This is why you can answer emails all day, but avoid the one that really matters. Why you can scroll for an hour, but feel exhausted thinking about a 5-minute workout. Why organizing your desk feels productive while the real project sits untouched. The small tasks don't threaten identity. The meaningful ones do. Underneath avoidance is a very old biological mechanism. Your nervous system is wired to minimize risk. When something feels uncertain, socially exposing, or emotionally vulnerable, stress chemistry rises. Cortisol increases. Your body shifts into subtle defense mode. You might not feel panic, but you feel resistance. And resistance feels like, "I don't want to." So you delay. Then something interesting happens. The moment you choose not to act, your stress drops slightly. The relief is immediate. That drop in tension teaches your brain something powerful. Avoiding this works. You just reinforced the behavior. Every time you postpone the difficult conversation, you get relief. Every time you skip the gym, relief. Every time you don't open the document, relief. Your brain learns that not moving equals safety, and it will repeat whatever produces safety. That's why willpower rarely solves this. You're not fighting laziness. You're fighting a protection system that thinks it's keeping you alive. But here's the deeper layer. The things you avoid most often sit directly on top of your identity. If you've always seen yourself as not athletic, going to the gym threatens that identity. If you secretly fear you're not capable enough, launching the project threatens exposure. If your sense of worth is tied to being agreeable, having a hard conversation threatens belonging. Avoidance isn't random. It's precise. It targets the areas where failure would hurt the most, and your brain would rather maintain a painful certainty than risk an uncertain improvement. Look closely at your own patterns. What do you consistently postpone? Not the meaningless tasks, the meaningful ones. The creative work you care about. The health habit that would change your energy. The boundary you need to set. The financial decision you keep delaying. These are not small things. They carry consequences, and consequence activates protection. When something matters deeply, it also exposes you deeply. If you try to improve your marriage and it doesn't shift, that feels heavier than never trying. If you apply for the position and don't get it, that feels heavier than staying where you are. Inaction protects ego. It keeps the narrative alive that you could have succeeded under different circumstances. There's another layer most people miss. Avoidance doesn't just reduce fear, it reduces emotional intensity. Big goals create big emotional activation. That activation feels uncomfortable. Your body interprets intensity as danger, even if the outcome is positive. Excitement and fear share similar physiological signatures. Elevated heart rate, increased alertness, tightness in the chest. Your brain often mislabels growth as threat. So when you sit down to finally work on something meaningful and suddenly feel restless, distracted, or tired, it's not proof you don't care. It's proof your system is activated, and your system prefers stability over expansion. The solution is not forcing yourself through it with aggression. That only confirms to your nervous system that the situation is hostile. Instead, you reduce perceived risk. Shrink the action. Make it almost too small to resist. 5 minutes, 1 paragraph, 1 honest sentence, 1 application submitted without perfecting it. Small movement tells your brain, this is survivable. Over time, survivable becomes familiar. Familiar becomes safe. And safe allows repetition. Repetition builds identity. You don't become confident before acting. You become confident after enough survivable actions accumulate. Avoidance begins to weaken when your brain learns that action does not equal annihilation. This is why self-criticism backfires. When you attack yourself for procrastinating, you increase internal threat. And increased threat strengthens avoidance. Compassion reduces threat. Clarity reduces threat. Tiny, consistent action reduces threat. And once the threat signal lowers, movement becomes possible. The question is not why you're lazy. It's what part of you believes it's protecting something fragile. The goals you avoid most often are mirrors. They reflect the version of you that feels uncertain, exposed, or not yet proven. When you understand that, avoidance stops being shameful. It becomes information. Information about where growth feels dangerous. And growth always feels dangerous before it feels empowering. You don't need more motivation. You need more safety. And safety is built through small, repeated, survivable steps in the direction of what matters.